makes so much more. Can't wait.
if I unmute there.
I'm disappointed. Hey. I was so stoked.
Barefoot in the sun.
Check. Huh, can't really tell. Oh,
I honestly like
or,
to hear it.
we good? We're good.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to call the meeting to order, this meeting to order at 4:04. And, we we have an agenda now here that we'll get into, and then one of the items will be a discussion with several, representatives from our planning commission. So, and I believe, Robert, if you're interested in that, the choice would be to go home and have a supper and watch it on Zoom and comment, or maybe stick around. The agenda's not real complicated, so we'll maybe get to it a little bit earlier. Okay. Okay, so first item on the agenda. The minutes from the, August 11th, 2020 regular meeting, as presented. Lois got them out to us. I took a look at them. And, thank you, Julia. Precise. And I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we have a motion to adopt the resolution 449. That's a signal specs. And this came to us from, the firm that we use, our consultants for the, traffic lights in the township.
Right.
I know you took a look at it, Jacob and Robert.
Yeah, we did last week.
Okay.
I'm not sure what they wanted, but apparently what they wanted was adopt a resolution that they should all be the same.
And not conflict with the green light code. So having said that,
Yeah.
and just to go a little bit further, the resolution will apply to not just the green light go and the traffic lights on 209, but also other lights that may come about in the future. So it's a good protective, inclusive.
Absolutely. You wanna make sure you have the best, stats and the best,
Yeah.
system.
Did I hear a resolution being made?
I'll make
Yeah.
a resolution.
Okay. Jacob, did you make the?
I'll second Robert's motion.
All in favor? Aye. Cool. We have a special permit from, I guess, for fireworks at a wedding to, Shawnee Inn on September 6th. Hopefully that'll take place. And, the resolution is simple, that we have the insurance policy, they pay their fee, and, we're held harmless.
I'll make a motion that we approve the special event permit.
Okay, I'll second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I said, at least there's a wedding taking place down there.
Yeah, something. Name's not on it. You see a name on this, application? Oh, it's the fireworks company is doing it for the people are getting married. And their certificate of liability, everything is here. All right, so that's carried unanimously. Next item on the agenda. Consider appointment of Eric White, not Bossard or whatever, and Rick Cullen to the Smithfield Township Open Space Review Board. So Louise Troutman, recruited two good people, and that's good. I think, maybe you got interest going again.
Let's hope.
Yeah, let's hope he's right.
Absolutely.
We know them both, certainly know them both, and I'll make a resolution that we do appoint them both.
Before you appoint them to the board, do you guys know how long the terms are for
No,
this board?
I was gonna ask you that. I don't know.
Okay.
That's a good point. I don't,
It's an ad hoc committee, but it's really to figure out, what should be included in the open space, so,
and then go away.
yeah.
Okay, so is this a committee that we need to, like, have they been established for Smithfield Township? Like, do they have bylaws, and have they gone through the process of being established at this point?
The open space.
Yeah.
It has been established, I'm not aware of the bylaws, but maybe, Louise and the other people.
I do not think that they have bylaw as of right now. I've been to a couple of their meetings, but they seem to be, certainly not formal meetings, at least not yet. I think that they were in the very beginning. Kate Rahman from Natural Lands was there, another woman from Natural Lands, and then Louise
Troutman.
was there. But I don't think they have any bylaws. I know that Mary Ellen is, tentatively the chair, but I don't think they have a secretary or a vice chair. And one gentleman even, stepped out, so I'm unsure the number of seats on said committee.
Well, I'm wondering whether it's really up to Kate Rahman and, Louise Troutman to figure out the rules of how it works, since they've been, kind of the advisors and promoters of it.
Yep. And again, it was through Louise that these two gentlemen were involved. So I'd say that, I'm not aware of terms for this. It is a committee that will, will no longer, be in existence after they do their recommendations. And their job is to, go out throughout the community and look for appropriate lands for easement or purchase regarding open space and clean water. So, I would say, Julia, that we would appoint these two individuals, but no specific term.
Okay.
And then we'll talk to Louise. You know what, I'll have to take a look back. Because it got really, in the beginning there, they were really, going through a lot of different things and lots of do's, and I wonder if they didn't do some work on it.
This is the committee, I apologize for not being better prepared for this. I found out about that this was gonna be on the agenda approximately an hour and a half ago. So this is the committee that was created because of the referendum back in 2016, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So then basically we'll appoint these people and then go back and find out and see if there's other paperwork that we might have missed. And if we need to create an actual committee, go through the proper motions with the solicitor and whatnot, I will, figure that out in the coming week.
Okay.
Sounds like a plan. And I would consult with Louise just to see if there.
Yeah, and maybe Kate. And the situation was, I do remember that we were told that this committee had to exist. And that of the supervisors, there shouldn't be any supervisors on it. We recommended Jacob would be liaison, but I think they consider you on the committee right now.
According to those minutes, but I told them I'm not. I certainly never voted to appoint myself.
No.
So.
Nor did we.
So, yeah.
Okay, so having said that, we'll do a little bit more research.
Yeah, we can move to table it until, the next week.
Well, we can appoint them now, just not with a specific term. Yeah, there are some more documents
Well,
involved with this.
we feel like we'll know the exact by next week, so you could move to appoint them with terms to be determined at the next work session. Julia, if that sounds reasonable, if you think you could.
I will.
Even if we have to create it officially or recreate it or something next week, we can appoint these people.
Let's appoint them now while they're still interested.
Yes.
While they're here.
I agree, they're two very good people.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we do appoint them to this Open Space Review Board.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, next item on the agenda, fall cleanup, and, I know, you've been doing a lot of work on the, background of it and the costs associated with it, and I see we've got some of the, information in our handout.
Yeah, so if you take a look at what you did, I went, Lynn pulled the information for me, and I went back to 2017. Going back to 2017, you see only the income from the cleanup receipts and the cost of the dumpsters. So in 2017, we were operating at about $10,000 loss. 2018 was similar. 2019, we were at a $16,000 loss, and for 2020, I spoke with the roadmaster, Ed, and one of the things that we also need to consider for this is that we basically lose our road crew for 2 weeks for this. So if you go through that, I've done some calculations for the employee costs that go into this, and long and the short of it is, depending on how many dumpsters we need, we might be looking at about $40,000 in loss for this, which is a bit of an outie.
Yep.
The whole point of me showing this to you, is because our roadmaster wanted to bring to the table that we need to start charging for this as a way to recoup a little bit more of the cost. This is a great opportunity for residents to get rid of a lot of the trash because if we don't continue to do this, feasibly, we're going to start having to pick more of it up off the road, and we're going to see an increase in illegal dumping. So this is something that we should continue to do, but in order to offset the cost to the township, we need to really start considering charging residents.
And Julia, let me just say too, that we've got to be reasonable, in what we do charge, or we'll see the same garbage on the road.
Absolutely.
So that's a good.
The next two things in the packet, he pulled Stroud Township and I believe it's Smithfield Township.
Middle, yep.
And therefore your review if you wanted to start considering charging for carloads. As we stand right now, the first carload is free, and after that, it's $25 additionally if you wanted to change this. This is information for your consideration. You can act on it now. You can act on it at the next work session. Something to consider though is that this is happening in about a month. So if you don't decide to act on it now, if you want to think about this, we will need information by the next work session, at the latest, so we can get the poster out, so we can make our residents aware of the changes and get this advertised.
Get this advertising. Okay, I'd like to do it at the next work session. It's only a week, and I put a call in to talk to, Middle Smithfield and Ed Kramer also at Stroud. And I guess they're, pretty darn busy also, as we all are. And, I'm expecting callbacks on that. We're sitting here on Wednesday, hopefully tomorrow or Friday at the latest. And then I'll have what I feel comfortable with. And, we'll just take a look at, our situation. Maybe have Eddie come in, sit with us for a few minutes and go over it, and get his feelings with it. I think we all agree that, yeah, over the years, we've been more than reasonable. But as you just illustrated, these, fees have quadrupled, and that's, what's it, 1,300 and something now?
Yeah, Ed and I were talking about it. He said 5 years ago, I think one dumpster cost us $550. Now we're looking at $1,300 a dumpster.
So,
we
yeah.
can't continue to operate how we have been.
That's,
Right.
well, that is a good point. And even having said that, it's not that easy. You got to book earlier, you don't even get them. That's how business it is. All right, so how about we do that? I'll hopefully hear from Stroud and Middle, and I'll get that out to everybody exactly what they do. We don't have to do the same, but, again, reasonable is what we're looking to do.
Okay, and Brian, you said you've reached out to Stroud and Middle, or
Yes,
Middle?
no,
Okay.
I did, and, I'll follow up if I don't hear from them by, I'd say afternoon tomorrow.
We were speaking earlier that, the County Waste Authority is opening, or has just opened, a place on Military Road.
Yeah.
So there's someplace closer than Blakesley where you can drop things off. I'm just wondering, what are their costs, or what do they do with it? Or do they deal with waste management or county waste, or they do it themselves? How does it work?
They have, Chris?
It's not all the time where they take electronics. It was just one special day, Monroe County President's Day, and then they will schedule other electronic collections.
Schedules of what, when, they'll take when?
Yeah,
electronic.
so it's,
What about tires and things like that they take?
tires they take at the Blakesley location.
Yeah.
And they'll have a tire in the 2 days.
But this particular event is only for this particular day,
Correct.
and there'll be maybe others in the future,
Yes,
Carissa.
sir. Yep,
That's what, county waste is only for one day they're doing this. It's not,
the
This
Waste
part.
Authority,
yeah, waste authority,
yeah. So it's not Monday, Friday, Saturday, they
right.
are open for recycling collection.
Yeah.
Electronics and tires, other than the Blakesley location,
Right.
which is Monday through Friday, they schedule out in advance, special days.
Special days, and they announce it, of course, and
Right.
that's how we're aware of it.
yeah.
Right.
Sure. Okay.
I just wonder if there's any, I mean, every township is going through this, is there any, the economics to scale that would be better if they were coordinating it with us, with Stroud and with Smithfield? I don't know.
I think it would overwhelm them. I mean, you saw, you gave us a hand last year, didn't you?
Yeah,
It's been, it was,
Easing back into it after the shutdown,
Yep.
They didn't wanna get too overwhelmed.
Right.
So they're kinda, like I said, easy back.
Yeah. All right, just a question.
And our spring cleanup is scheduled for September this year?
16th through 20th.
Yep. 15th to the 20th. 16, right. 16, 17, yeah. Okay. I'll do my homework and I'll get back to everybody as soon as I get that information.
Planning commission members, we didn't.
We have Doug on, he's behind us.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Oh, big brother back there.
Yeah.
Looming.
Loomer. Okay, here it is. We got the ad in the paper. Jacob, we got 2 responses.
Right. Yeah, Julia has, do you have the letter from the,
I didn't, I sent them to Lois, it should be included in your packet, did you not? Okay, my apologies.
Well, I talked to Lois and asked her if she had them, and she said not yet.
I sent them to her on Friday.
Okay.
But, I'll print them out now. So, really quick, you guys received 2 letters of interest, one from a Kurt Wickman and one from Guy Miller. At this point, for the Planning Commission bylaws, Article 3, Section 2, you need to conduct interviews if you're interested in potentially putting these people on. Those interviews must be, include members of the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors. After you've had those interviews, you can then make your selection as the Board of Supervisors.
Yeah, and the second-class township code also calls for that procedure.
It's actually the municipal planning code.
Or municipal plan,
Yeah.
MPC. Okay.
But at this point, obviously, I'm hoping you guys have had time to review them, because I sent them to you also on Friday. If you haven't, that's fine. But at this point, I'm looking for direction if you want to move forward and schedule the interviews, or if we need to start looking at reducing our planning commission to 5 members by the ordinance.
Well, we've got, I know at least one of these applicants, and he's been on our zoning hearing board. I think he was on the planning commission years ago. And if you look at his resume, he's done a hell of a lot of community work and service in his jobs and employment also. And that's Guy Miller. The other gentleman, I just like the way he, his letter of interest was, really straightforward, honest, no braggadocio whatsoever, just somebody willing to get involved in with this community. So I think that what we have to do is get a date and have a joint meeting with certain representatives from the Planning Commission and also the Board of Supervisors. And then we would abide by those laws, the regulations of the MPC, and then have a vote, yea or nay, accept or not.
Well, the current, members wanna continue serving.
Yes.
Yes, when I originally reached out to them after we determined that all of their terms had expired, every current member that is on the planning commission, provided a letter stating that they would be interested in continuing to serve.
Right.
Well, do we reappoint those now, or do we wait till, get everybody together?
my feeling is that, you know, we can have the interviews, you know, the joint interviews. Hopefully don't last as long as office manager interviews. I think you can attest to the 90-minute or 2-hour interviews. But, I think after that, then we can decide, because then we kind of have to figure out who gets what term, you know, because
Right.
2 of them expire in, I don't know, I have 100.
January 4th, of
Yes.
2021.
Yes, to coincide with the reorganization, that way we can
Yep.
set that in stone, and hopefully we'll be able to do that with the other commissions that we'll have to do this with too. That would be,
So we don't have to
Great.
do anything now.
yeah, but I think it's good that we can hear them out, and then we can decide what we want to do then.
So what we should do is reach out to, the chairman of the planning commission, let him know that we have 2 interested people, copy him with the resumes if we haven't already done that, and, look for, an appropriate date. We probably have to advertise it, the joint session, okay. Julia, would you, I'll reach out, or Robert, do you wanna reach out to, I'll reach out to Scott and,
If it's all the same to you, because Lois is the recording secretary for the board and she handles all of the agendas and everything, I'll let her coordinate, you
for
know.
the PC.
Yeah, and
Okay,
because she
sure.
does the
Good.
advertising and everything too, I'll just leave this in her court and
Great.
she can handle it.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect.
Okay, good.
Well, let's, postpone the sign ordinance as long as we can to see if anyone shows up. Besides Doug. If we did say,
And Robert.
first we said 5, then we said 4:30.
Hey, Doug, are you the one who texted me just now?
No,
Oh, okay. All right, I don't know whose number that is, but I'd imagine, they said, can you send Michael Albert the meeting code? So whomever that is, I did that, if you're on here.
Is Michael Albert in, he's out of town, out of state, I think.
Yeah, I can't remember if he's in Michigan or
I
not
think
still.
so, yeah. Okay. Yeah, bills to be paid, and they're, in the packet. And, again, we've had a time to take a look at them.
Yeah, nothing crazy jumped out. I think there was like one thing that was weirdly off because of some QuickBooks glitch, but that's been taken care of now.
You got that?
Yeah, it was like $25. Something happened with one of the med ed bills that it was entered but didn't show up.
It was entered and then it was accidentally deleted. So then after the bill was paid, the account showed a credit of $25 in Med Ed. So then when we entered the new bill of $139, it showed that we only owed Med Ed $114. So there was a little bit of confusion there, but once we re-entered that $25 bill, everything was taken care of.
That was the second entry, just made it simple, got it done. Good. I'm looking down now, actually, DLP Professional Buildings, $1,444.38.
Right. That was a tax refund. I believe it was an adjustment with the assessment.
Yeah.
As was James Lang and Teresa Arceo. For $26.
26, I take it.
Hi there,
Okay,
I'm
fine.
Cortana, and I'm here to help. A little sign in here, a touch of Wi-Fi there, and we'll have your PC ready for all you plan to do.
Oh my God, Amy.
Yeah,
If you'd like me to stay quiet, just
Okay.
Oh, was that you?
No, what did you say that the DLP was for?
Oh, that was like a tax refund. They had their assessment, changed or something like that.
Their appeal was upheld and they reduced their, so it's, school, of course, county, library.
And I expect something similar like that to come through either soon or, I don't know, maybe later on from, the Water Gap, Wellness,
Yeah, didn't we see?
Yeah, we looked at that. It amounts to somewhere around $6,000 different.
Yep. Prorated, 4 taxing entities?
Right.
Okay.
Something to that effect.
All right.
But we haven't gotten any correspondence to that, so.
Okay, so the bills to be paid do include a payroll of $813, $25,000, $683.59. Total bills, to be paid, $52,406.84. And, Jacob, thanks for reviewing it and signing off that you did so. Appreciate it. Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve, total bills for $68,218.56.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Let me make sure that we are in the spotlighted view so everybody is visible. All of our viewers are gonna get to see me in a mask really close to the screen. Amazing.
All right.
Yeah.
You know what? If they don't show up, what time is it?
It's 4:29 right now.
Yeah. In our package, want me to make a copy of your, for Robert? Yeah, make a copy.
Oh, you can take one of mine. I think I printed one, and then there was one in here, yeah.
Robert, this is preliminary, this is work with, Robert, predominantly. Correspondence going back and forth, so.
Julia, maybe you want to explain the quorum thing?
Thank you.
Do we have a problem?
No. No, we don't.
Cool.
But yeah, we have Michael and Doug on with us.
Hello, Michael.
Michael?
Hey guys,
Can you hear
how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Sorry that
Thanks for joining us.
I'm not present. I'm in quarantine right now.
And the reason for that?
I was exposed to someone with the COVID virus about 7 days ago.
Oh,
My goodness.
You're okay? Everybody's all right?
Well, my family's fine. No one's sick. I think we're going to be fine, but we're supposed to do 14 days. So.
Gotta do the 14. Michael, this is personal, are you in Michigan?
No, we're back in Pennsylvania now, but we were in
Okay.
Michigan when it happened. Yeah.
Well, if you need anything, just,
No, we're fine. I mean, we're laughing here.
yeah, okay. All right. So. We'll give it just a couple more minutes to see. I expected, Scott Moore to be here. Yeah.
While we're waiting.
Hey, Jacob, this is Doug. Maybe you should, text Scott.
yeah, let me see if I have Scott's cell phone on this phone.
Yeah, or call him.
Oh, no, I got it. You guys said 4:30 was when you wanted to start that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought it was 4.
And
Good
Bob
day,
Bob was going to come there. Is he there?
Oh, Bob's here.
Okay, Bob Moses is here.
Which other commissioners are there? Scott there?
Well, actually, we're right where we should be. We got 1, 2, 3. We don't have a quorum. Welcome, Robert. So I guess we can begin.
Have you heard from David?
No. Julia, do you want to?
Well, so at this point, when the sign discussion was first, topic that was going to be occurring here.
It was at 5 o'clock, right?
Well, first it was at 5 o'clock, but the more important part that we need to talk about is that it was only news that Scott was going to be coming, and that was my understanding.
You told me today that he was coming.
Yeah, but the larger issue with that is that this was not advertised as a, joint work session for the planning commission. So right now, we're okay, because we've got 3 members here. The moment, a fourth shows up, we're going to have a problem, because it will be perceived as a quorum, and then we'll be in violation of the sunshine law. That's where we hit the issue. So, we'll have to proceed very carefully if anybody shows up. Obviously, it's important for everybody to listen, but we should probably, if one more person shows up, designate and say, okay, so-and-so is going to be here, but they're not going to say anything. Which might even not be good to do at all. We might want to even ask somebody to leave, so we don't have a quorum at all.
There won't be any votes taken.
Yeah, but it's still the Sunshine Act has a very.
I have a limited availability this evening anyway, so if someone else shows up, I'll just say goodbye.
Okay, all right.
So that might just.
Thanks, Michael.
Just to keep us, in.
Yeah.
I made notes I could leave with Robert.
Okay.
Well, as long as we're advertised for the next time,
Yeah,
then we'll
make sure,
be
and we
okay.
can, with the instruction that you gave me about the planning commission term, we can make sure that we advertise for a work session relatively quickly and do the sign ordinance discussion in tandem with the interviews for the other session.
For the other.
That would be great to get it set in one meeting.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about the next session, because I'm hoping what it will be is, any, whatever suggestions, whatever we want to Judy Goldstein at B&J, to put this into some real draft form of a resolution, and then along with it, to put in a lot of the things that she knows or that are, let's say, common to a lot of townships and where things are going today, that is, in a way, doing for signs what we did for the ED enterprise zone, updating, simplifying, and creating something that is easy to use and is, let's say, attractive for businesses who want to come here. So this is really just an informal session to get ideas. Here's Scott, and to be able to express opinions. I don't need to.
Hey, Michael.
Do I have to leave
See
now?
ya. No. Bob Moses just, he volunteered to leave.
Yeah, I can leave.
Is Bob leaving?
Bob, are you gonna leave?
I can go. I honestly I've got my kids here that are running around, so,
Okay, listen, and again, we're just trying to avoid having a quorum, so.
No, I understand.
If Tom does leave it, you have to go.
I'll go and I will, when there's something else written feedback, I will provide my feedback as I did. I mean, I sent an email already expressing my opinion.
Yeah.
I think it's good that we look at this.
You can hang around. He's checking out.
Okay,
He's
well,
gotta play with
Michael,
his kids.
best of luck with your quarantine. Thanks for swinging in, we really do appreciate it.
Hey,
Hola. Are we the only ones that
Hola.
remember Burma Shave? What's that? Are we the only ones that remember Burma Shave? Well, Brian probably.
the sign was on the old barn, I think, on 209. Whatchamacallit's properties down there. Well, so the whole idea is that, the ordinance itself, 504, we gotta take a look at it, and, I was thinking that the how many pages is it? We do have, we have an email from, message from Robert with his comments, actually a couple of emails. And I'm just wondering if it's proper for us to begin this now, or do we just literally, sit down with it, make our comments, and then submit them for a meeting to actually roll up our sleeves and do some work on it.
That sounds good. I vote for that.
As long as we're here, I'd like to hear anybody's just general feeling, whether I'm on the right track or the wrong track. We have Michael's email also. Yeah, Michael's got one.
Michael did, yep.
Are we back up to having 4 now?
Yes.
Hey, Dave. Thank you.
Okay, Bob.
Look at this. All right. Thank you, Robert.
There was a bit of a miscommunication with how this meeting was going to be structured. Because of that, we didn't advertise the planning commission, joint meeting. So because of that, we cannot have the planning commission forum in the room. So if we volunteered to leave, the 4 of you showed up. Your presence kicked them out of the room.
And we've got
And Doug's back there.
Dougie's back there.
Hey, why don't you come
3.
over here? You got a whole table to yourself.
So, excuse me,
Yes, sir.
What members of the planning commission are there now?
Chairman Amori,
Yeah,
Dave Strunk,
Yeah.
and right now yourself.
so.
You're the
just-
third.
Did Bob Moses leave?
Yes, yes, he did.
But he
Oh,
left some
okay.
notes.
All right,
Very
so we're still not a quorum and that's what you want, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So in general, then, what we could do is, we've had this and, we've had it for enough time to take a look at it, the ordinance itself. Did you have recommendations for what you want to see? And you share those, you, Robert?
Right. Well, this is my recommendation, but this is based on observation and also saying, what can we do which is more enforceable than what we have, and which is more.
Can't hear it. No, people are talking and I'm not hearing. Are you hearing me? Jacob, are you hearing me? Raise your right hand if you are.
Yeah.
Hope this goes more smoothly when Wally takes everything over.
Yeah. Okay, and now I'm gonna put in that, so that makes us just the one. Nine, eight.
There we go.
Okay.
Now we're
think.
back alive. That one's back there.
The internet's awesome.
Take your suggestion.
So,
All right.
Scott, looks like you'll have something to say.
I always have something to say. Don't ever give me the floor. Actually, my thing is, I'm actually a little surprised we're doing this first, to be honest with you. I would have thought we would have gone in the nuisance direction as a tool to help take care of some of like the dilapidated things that are at least collapsed, lean. I would have thought we would have gone that direction first. My thing with this is, okay, signs, yeah, all right, I've been here long enough to remember, when all the wildcat signs and the ugly garbage, and Dave's mentioned the things, there's all the same sorts of things. I'm certainly not opposed to doing it. I'd like to, not quite ready to dive into code. I wanted more to have a discussion of what kinds of things do we like and what do we like to see. Much like we did back when we did the other ordinances, let's start there. This is the end or near end product. What kinds of things do we like? What kind of things do we not like and we would think we would need to be addressed first is probably that would be my initial direction, that's all.
Well, I think that's a good way to start.
Yeah, I
totally agree.
As I was driving in, I came up, as I was coming up to it, there are certainly some unattractive sort of old signs. And then there are some that have, either vestiges of things, that I think I would like aesthetically, and some that are quite nice. The one at the corner of Buttermilk Falls, that's the Shawnee one that directs people to the Sin and, and the post office and everything up there, is an attractive, aesthetically fitting tower. Further up, there's, like the one with the Coldwell Banker, as you're coming 209 this way. The Coldwell Banker was the other thing before that, but you know what I'm talking about. You know, and that's actually not a terrible
But if
sign.
you look on the other side of the road, there's one for
No, I know.
RGB, there's one for some plumbing and heating.
Right.
They're just stuck there.
That's exactly right. So I'm starting with things that, the way I don't really mind seeing signs, because you're gonna have to have signs, no matter what you are, you're gonna have to have signs, and the sign tower and so forth. I mean, I honestly think as new things come in, it's a way to small e enforce some of that aesthetics, because if you're gonna develop even some of the mixed use or whichever you're gonna develop in, it's going to take care of itself, so you're gonna put in your.
Yeah, I think you're right.
You know, I think some of that will take care of itself. Yes, that's really what I want to say. I know the sorts of things I like. You know, I know the sorts of things I don't like. I mean, this isn't, you know, this isn't, you know,
But just basically, the type of things you like are probably the things that are more appealing and are also
yeah,
more tasteful.
they're more tasteful. The trouble is we have the other old permitted ones that are out there. I don't know how many unpermitted ones we have. That may not be that actually may not be a terrible survey to go through.
Yeah.
You know, pick some of our commercial corridors and see which ones.
I think, let me ask,
Yeah.
Doug, can you hear me?
I can.
Good. Maybe a year and a half ago, you undertook a study, and took your camera and put a piece together on the blight and on the ugliness of Smithfield Township in general, but signage was part of it. Garbage piles, car repair areas that are overcrowded, totally overparked. And do you still have that?
I probably can lay my hands on it. I don't know that I have it in PDF format. I know I don't actually, but I thought you had it, or I know that Committa used it to do one of his presentations. So maybe you have that in the Committa file.
Then I'll look, because I do know that I had it, and just that in itself maybe is something we can just pass around as we sit talking and realize that after this has come up, I've been a little more aware of my surroundings when I travel, and I do know for a fact, it's simply because of the years I've been here, a lot of abandoned but grandfathered areas.
Yeah.
And that, and there, some of them, as you said, it could be quaint, they can be all right, but for the most part, horrendous. And I'll just say that I lived through the rush, all right, and when it was really
the 80s and the early 90s.
yeah, it was the Wild West, and I just my concern is very simple right now is that we have to deal with some kind of an ordinance that at least has standards that we all agree upon. And
I think Scott is right.
And I don't think.
But the blight ordinance and the sign ordinance just do go together a lot.
Well, they do, but I wanted to bring the nuisance ordinance to this, but I realized that number one, we're going to have enough on our agenda. But and I've sent it to everybody for their review.
Yeah.
And what happened with that ordinance is we got it, as Scott Moore knows, and we sent it down to our zoning officer, and he made comments. We sent it down to our solicitor, and he made adjustments, and it came back, and it was back and forth, and then it went away. And I think this is, if we're going to be doing, I think they both have a lot in common, and they should be considered.
Well, the signage is visual blight, just like the abandoned massage parlor is blight.
Right. Well, it is, but the redundancy and the closeness of it sometimes can be, and the size, and now with the new digital signs, and I drive by some places and I see like Christ Almighty, chartreuse signs in the middle of the beautiful Pocono Mountains in these colors I don't even know where they are.
Some of that stuff we're not going to be able to do anything about.
Not right now.
You know, well, I'm not even sure in general.
Well, we have it in the ordinance. We try to cover it.
I don't even know how
Your colors.
constitutionally enforceable as necessarily is to limit people's colors and those sorts of things.
No, not colors, you cannot.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, but but in terms of standards for, you know, certainly for size and style of construction, those are certainly things that the township is more than empowered. I accidentally wiped off my copy of your ordinance when I downloaded my Gmail. Can I see one, please? When I downloaded it at the office, I wiped it out. All right.
So you're looking at 8 pages,
Yeah.
okay.
You know, and I think we can, you know, I think we take them in, you know, certainly in parts. There's a big difference between signs that are not on a structure and signs that are.
Right.
Okay? And I think something very easy to do is signs that are on wheels need to go.
And that's what's in our ordinance, in our present ordinance, just it hasn't been enforced.
Well, it hasn't been enforced because when you go to enforce it, you find out that a lot of these entities are from New York, California, what was the last one, New Mexico? It's.
Okay.
You know,
But
Well, you know, Brian, at some point though, we're gonna have to do something in the township.
we have to go downstairs.
Well, at some point you gotta go downtown.
Well, downtown even.
Some
I
of
mean-
our locals, Shirley Capps has had a sign in a truck outside of her place, in 209 Milford Road for, I don't know how long.
Yeah, the
Cigar
cigarette joint has it out there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
and that
Smoke
is
shop.
public.
Pardon me? I'm sorry, Doug?
No, I'm sorry, the smoke shop, you know, that's the worst.
Yeah,
Well, I would
Yeah.
just reference that, the
You
smoke
know,
shop.
I mean, that thing hasn't moved in a year. The grass is dead under it. I mean, let's
Yeah.
not bullshit ourselves.
Yeah.
And then as you come out of the borough, East Stroudsburg, you look to see, and especially on the right-hand side, there's some pretty mean stuff
Yes, there is.
down there. And a guy's got a tractor trailer parked at this, I think it's a auto repair shop, I'm not quite sure what the hell it is. Ken's been down to talk to him, and sooner or later, he can't do that, all right? It's totally illegal. He's parked it next to his building because he didn't have enough room in his building, didn't want to come in, get permits to expand it. Ergo, there's an old, I'm sorry, it's not the tractor trailer. It's
The tractor trailer is not ours, is it?
no,
It's the-
no.
That's
It's the
Stroud,
trailer
that's on the
park.
edge of Stroud.
Oh, no, that's
By
us.
Pond Road?
No, this is the one, as you come out of the borough on 209, Milford
You're
Road,
thinking of-
right-hand side.
I'm thinking of the old Ray Price one.
That's not
Yeah.
ours.
No,
That's not ours, right? That's like right on the Stroud edge, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought the line was.
yeah.
We're thinking of the one, the auto coming out of East Stroudsburg.
But again, I think, Scott, you know, there's so many of them.
That guy, right?
But when we did this ordinance, and there were a group of people who put a lot of, it wasn't just something that we threw together. And I say we because I was part of that committee. And the best part of that committee was that it was not just a few PC members, Board of Supervisors, but the public. And a person like Mr. Weslow, who would love to be involved, a business person who was doing business in our township, and may have a few things to say, Bob, this evening. But having said that, I know in one of your cover letters, Robert, quite frankly, you feel that a business owner will take care of himself. It's almost, he almost has a financial obligation to himself to do the right thing.
Let's say,
And I
I
say
think some of them do,
pure bullshit. I'm sorry.
but to be able to try to micromanage what they put on, how they put up their sites. how
Well,
they-
no, that's why we're
Yes,
here, not to
you know.
micromanage. Yep.
To say, okay, it can't be bigger than so-and-so size.
Well, it depends. And then if you're getting into R1 zones and you got that matter, we gotta be protective of those particular zones.
I like Robert's idea of, you know, somewhat having these, you know, form-based, you know, signage rules, you know, based on the area that it's in. The other thing that I really like, because, I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that are, you know, in here, is, you know, sort of like the framing of you know, any future billboards, just to kind of have a better aesthetic look. I feel like that's a, you know, good approach.
Right. And then what do we have coming at us, on There's a classic, so, Robert, do you have a minute? Maybe I can just, Robert is in the process, his business is in the process of buying the property at the diner, and, which includes the diner and the building. I know Remax, yes, building. And that's fine, except because of the situation, for Smithfield Gateway, PennDOT, insists that neighbors are not adversely impacted. And then they say, oh, but of course, we have a right of way, and, if we use that to offer access to come by the buildings you're going to be involved with, and the third building, it's going to be really restricted sign-wise. You're going to lose the opportunity to have signage unless we consider it. Yeah. So, again, it starts off pretty much, what you would think is simple, and like anything else, unforeseen consequences, existing grandfathered structures, and as you say, Robbie, you can't regulate taste. I've tried that with my, no, I won't say it. Children. You heard it. So yeah, that's just, you know, there is a lot to it, a lot more than just, you know, just going through it.
Beyond just taste, there's less and less you can regulate just because of First Amendment questions and all kinds of questions. So David and I discussed a little about billboards. It'd be nice not to have billboards, but from what I've seen, it's got to be the state level to do that. You can't do it in a municipality, or it's considered,
I'm not sure, to be honest with you, I'm not sure.
I don't think that's true.
Billboards are sort of they're
I'm just telling you what
backwater
research
basically.
has shown. May or may not be, but it seems that the states that have done it as states. And there have been quite a few legal cases about it.
In the country,
municipalities challenging it, so.
I think that it was an initiative by president's wife a while back. Billboard signs, you know, it's across country. But having said that, when we did try to get into billboards and look at them, the first thing we did is have a curative amendment presented to us by Adams Outdoor Advertising.
Oh, yes.
That went on for the serious one. That's me. My fault, excuse me. It's my wife.
Better take it.
You win.
No, I'm not taking it. Okay, sorry. How's that? But again, it's yeah, the curative amendment, that it came to us, and they came to us, and they came to us, and you gotta be careful. We have a curative amendment now that we just dealt with, and,
We do.
yeah, well, we did, or we do, I think, we do. And, we're gonna meet September 9th with our final decision. But what happened was they pushed and pushed and pushed for their own benefit.
Adams Outdoor did.
I'm sorry?
Yeah,
That was
Adams Outdoor.
Adams Outdoor,
Adams
right?
Outdoor. I'm sorry?
Yes,
Didn't hear what
he
you
said
said.
Adams Outdoor, yeah.
Yeah, right. And Doug, I don't know if you were around for that or not, but we had many meetings about it, and then we realized that we could, actually. It was checked out, and our solicitor said, yeah, we could. However, their curative amendment was such that they wanted them, and it was very specific. They had to be so many thousand feet apart and certain sizes. And when we looked at what they had already, we realized that if it went through, they would be the only outdoor sign company in Smithfield Township. Yeah.
Again, I'd like to start at things we like and things we don't think we like. So, let's start at things like, I gave you a couple examples of things that I haven't liked. Talk about things I don't like. Signs on vehicles with wheels. All right. I'll say that don't move for.
Okay, signs tacked on buildings,
Well,
you know.
wait, before we go, let me finish my thoughts. Things such as, let's see.
Other flags.
Yeah, whatever those things are, those big ugly flags that flap in the breeze.
And the banners.
Yeah,
Banners.
well, things like, yeah, well, the other things are, yeah, hanging signs on bums at intersections, that should go too.
Most of those things are illegal now, we just don't enforce them.
Well, we don't enforce it
But
because.
I'm just saying, let's talk about things we don't like. The strings of banners, or pennants, or whatever you wanna call,
Yep.
that sort of.
Oh, guy that does this.
May I have the floor just briefly?
Go ahead, Gus.
Okay, here's why. My computer is starting to flicker and it looks like it's gonna die. Yeah, the screen's kind of going. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, well, while I can still speak, I have one comment about resident signs in residential. Robert, you and I have been talking about this. Signs in residential zones. I truly believe that a 36 square foot sign in front of a home is, unless it's, I just can't imagine why someone would want to have that except to advertise a home business, a home industry. And I think we've got suitable ordinances that prevent home industries of that type, any type that would need to be advertised on a 36 square foot sign, 6 by 6. I truly believe that signs should be regulated more stringently in residential zones. If people want a sign to advertise their accounting business or their psychotherapy, if a psychotherapist wants a sign, then it's a shingle, you know? I don't see that you need a big sign in front of a residence. And I think we should seriously consider that and eliminate that.
The only reason I did that was saying, okay, what are the biggest realty signs I could find? And they're about 5 by 6, 6 by 6. But remember, all of these dimensions are just ideas.
Yeah, I know.
Because I think Judy Goldstein, when she looks at this, will know what the current view is on any kind of, that should be what it is. I don't know, but she does, because she's looking at municipalities all over and what they do. So I wouldn't take any of these dimensions that I have.
Okay, I get it. But before I lose you or you lose me, just, realty signs are temporary. And I acknowledge that realty signs and election signs, that sort of thing, that's fine. That's freedom of speech and all that stuff. And if somebody's trying to sell their house, God bless them. Does it need to be 6 by 6? Maybe. But, and like you say, I would rely on Judy for that. But those are temporary signs and they should be stated as such. For permanent signs, the only reason to have a big sign like that is to advertise a business that's operating out of a home, and I don't think it should be allowed.
I think, Doug, that what Robert is saying is that was just a suggestion, an example.
Well, all of those things are.
To generate this kind of a conversation.
Right, I know, and that's why I wanted the input before my screen goes blank. But no, most of what Robert says in his proposed set of talking points, I think is pretty sound. Particularly the part where he's worried about enforcement, and he's right. The enforcement is woefully inadequate. We can't even enforce our present ordinances. So.
That's a good point. That brings up another issue, and it is enforcement.
Yep.
And some of it is pretty blatant, and it seems that the more blatant, the more I don't know.
Well, this is gonna come to our planning commission.
Yeah.
I think the objective would be to have like a formally advertised, I think the only reason today isn't longer is only because of an advertising hiccup.
No, that's it. I'm in no tremendous rush. I'm gonna ruminate on this a smidge. I mean, if it takes a little bit, it takes a little bit. I think one of the things for one of our upcoming planning commission meetings, and I'm gonna encourage planning commission, I'm gonna do it. I did it last time, is I'm gonna drive around, so that I can know what I'm talking about, I'm gonna take a couple of pictures of things I like, things I don't like, and let's see where we can come together and get some common ground. I'll do it myself. I'll do them on my iPhone. I'll send them around.
I've been doing the same thing.
Yeah, you're doing the same sort of thing. I mean, it's that kind of, that kind of stuff. I remember when I used to do more municipal work, I do very little of it in my practice now, but, having gone through home-based occupations for a couple of people in a number of different municipalities, most true home-based ones are signage is like limited to like 2 feet by 2 feet kind of stuff. Yeah. You got your chiropractor office or your attorney's office or your accounting and that kind of, they're usually, next to the door you're gonna use for the office, kind of that sort of stuff.
Right.
I'm not gonna get too hung up on 6 by 6, I mean, just get hung up on billboards and, and that sort of stuff.
Lights here, what about lights? You said you had lights at this, any lights I could put down?
Yeah, I was saying at the beginning, things, such as at, Buttermilk Falls in 209, the one directing people up the hill, the Shawnee one.
Yeah.
The wooden one with the Indian head, I mean, and it directs not just to that, not just to the Send, but, tells you the post office is up there. I mean, that's actually an attractive off-premise sign that directs you up there, and that's something that I certainly, don't mind seeing. And I had said before, like the one by the Coldwell Banker, that at least is multiple things on one side. It's an older style, that's much more 90s style, but that's, at least it has, some stone around it, there's something that makes it look, a bit more aesthetically pleasing, versus, stacks of tires covered over with Continental Tyvek.
Have on Franklin Hill.
Right, I mean, that's so there are certain ones that, clearly are nice and attractive, even the ones into the shopping center at the top of Buttermilk Falls Road, directing what's in there. I mean, that's all in keeping with the same, kind of architectural theme.
And Scott, the reason that is that way is they came to us initially.
Yeah, right, I remember all those years ago.
And how do you want us to do it? Let's do it together again.
Yeah, and it remains good looking even to now. It remains classic.
Yeah.
Now,
And it does the job.
it does the
It's
job.
not like some of these places you pull into, you gotta stop the car and start
And
reading.
they've more or less kept it together too with things that have come in and out. All those years ago, there's been the real estate school, there've been a couple of different restaurants, a couple of different things that have come in, and it hasn't been slapdashed over on it. And so, those sort of most of the Shawnee stuff up to the ski slope and so forth, most of that is signage that serves its purpose and fits in with its surroundings. I think that's really, that's really what we're talking about here.
Well, you bring up an interesting point with the Shawnee sign. You could call it a directional sign, which I guess it kind of is, but it's also an off-premise sign. And my feeling is we should have no off-premises signs unless they are directional.
Understand. I understand. I'm just telling you the one.
That's in the ordinance.
No.
It's implied.
Yeah, but I know certainly.
I'm not sure it certainly isn't followed.
Well, no, I think so, and the exceptions always were the real estate signs, for sale signs, that kind
Yeah,
of
those
stuff.
are temporary, they don't last that long.
No, I'm thinking of like.
But election signs
puts a
you
sign
can't
in
mess
the-
with.
You own a piece of land, throw a sign on it, and there's no business there,
Well,
it's just advertising something else.
when billboards were hard, that was the way to
Well,
get, but to be honest with you now, this is the biggest billboard in the planet. I mean,
Yeah.
this is- Nobody's, the phone, see, nobody's looking for it.
Yeah.
No, the billboard will get you close, and, I mean, I don't, because we have Mr. Marketing behind me here, but, but billboards will get, it might get you in, 2.5 miles to go to turn right kind of stuff. But for the most part, I don't think anybody cares about, a billboard in Wilson advertising something in the Poconos.
No, that's
Because
that's a billboard, that's a signboard. I'm saying, what I object to is, okay, you own a piece of land, throw up a sign on it for whether, whatever it happens to be. I mentioned that plumbing sign on 209. Those things shouldn't be there. If it's advertising business, there is one thing, but it's not an accepted billboard. It's just throwing up a sign of some dimension because you own the land and you can put it up. That's what I object to a lot. Those impromptu signs.
Okay. Other things you want to consider, is monument signs, landscaping requirements around the signs, and whether or not you want to allow CUVS in the township.
Well, some of it is in our.
Allow what?
Electronic.
Oh, LEDs.
Right.
What we do, that's in there, and that was, David, if you remember what we went through with that, the size, the frequency, there's standards now finally in Pennsylvania that say that if you've got a flashing sign of a certain size, you can't flash it like,
Yeah.
6 times in.
Create a hazard.
Right.
Yeah.
Our ordinance on it
They're the ones.
is also very out of date, for instance.
They're the ones.
Our ordinance
It's gotta be updated.
30 seconds, changing the signs,
Yeah.
and the standard is now 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And the 2 signs that are in the township are 10 seconds, they're not 30.
The only two, Frankie's and Frankie's?
There's one on
Yeah, the one by Dairy Queen and the one by the,
Dollar General.
yeah.
On Milford Road.
Oh, no, then there's the one down from, Alaska Pete.
With the one, you mean, with the
As
one.
you're coming towards, 209 on the right-hand side.
That's what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
we'll take a couple of pictures here.
Yeah.
And
You mean that's the sign for Alaska Pete? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's,
I don't know.
Well, do
Where
you
there's an
mean
electronic
the small electronic one that's by, like in between the Dollar General and then that very small pet food store or something? You mean that one? Usually
Yeah,
it has
that's
like
one.
something for like Wawa on it or
Yeah.
something like that.
Right.
That's called the junior bulletin sign.
junior bulletin.
That's one.
Right.
Frankie's is the same size.
Doesn't he
by the
own
car
both?
wash, but there's a third one. There's a third Alaska Pete sign, I don't remember that one.
No, not a third Alaska Pete. Yes, sir.
I want to make a few comments. The first one is less is more in terms of signage, in my opinion. The less we have, the better. I think it's more beautiful the townships can be.
You're talking about road signs,
Any sign. I mean, I think we can do it in a more tasteful way, and it doesn't need to be scattered with signs everywhere. And part of that goes into the temporary signs that we were talking about, the wheeled ones, the banners, the flag, the dancing guy. All that stuff should be gone. But the biggest thing, we could talk about this for 14 Sundays, and we don't have enforcement. It's all wasted effort. So we have to really focus on that. And as far as, you had made the comment about giving businesses free form and all that, and personally, I think that's a slippery slope, because businesses will do whatever they can to increase their business. And they don't care about the township rules. They only care about business. And I've yet to see somebody come in here that wasn't trying to put 5 pounds of poop in a 2-pound bag. So that's the way they operate. So we need to give them some guidelines in terms of what we want and what we don't want. One of my biggest pet peeves with any development that happens in the town is lighting, because I see so much glare. And the LED lights, or LED signs.
Are brutal.
They're brutal. When you're driving down the road, and it's 10 o'clock at night, and you're trying to get home, and you see these bright signs on the side of the road, they're distracting.
Can I just interrupt 1 second, David, because it's in the same vein. They have a standard now where they'll dim them as dusk becomes dark.
Well, then there's.
It's something to consider.
I know that this is just a working draft, but
At
there
the
needs
most.
to be some lighting specific standards in there. And,
Well, there are standards now that didn't used to be.
Okay.
The Illuminating Engineering Society, American National Standards Institute,
But I think they need to be very specific about
they are
what they want, and even give them
there are
lower.
nit levels,
Yeah.
and intensity.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with how a non-LED sign is lit, it needs to be certain lumens, non-glare, yeah. you had mentioned something about landscaping, and I think that's a fabulous idea until it becomes a problem. And, you know, just driving down 209, from Bushkill to Pub 570, you had a beautiful sign in its day, and they haven't touched it. Now it's just weeds everywhere. And I think that looks worse than not having any landscaping at all. So if we're gonna have landscaping under certain types of signs, it needs to be enforced. And then,
Nuisance.
what's enforced? What if this guy's weed is your flower? I mean, you know, how do you quantify what landscaping is?
With the nuisance ordinance.
Well, I understand, but it needs to be specific.
Right,
about what is
measurable,
in that landscaping
so
plan.
Ken can go up and say, this is the wrong
Yeah,
kind of thing.
You know, these are
Right.
dandelions,
Grass
they're
is 5 inches.
not
Right.
landscaping.
Yeah.
Okay? And then moving forward on, once we've all got our heads somewhat together, who is best to write this? And what are other townships doing? And I don't wanna reinvent the wheel. I could never write something like this, so I would probably steal from all these different ordinances and come up with what we want. And then it needs to be written by a planner, I would think, that knows how to word it properly.
Well, that's why we thought we'd let Judith Goldstein take it, who did our
The last one.
So I think instead of us trying to draft it, which, you know, you put a lot of effort into, I can easily see that, instead of us trying to do that draft, I like Scott's idea in trying to come up with almost like a bubble chart of what we like and what we don't like.
Yeah.
And even if we put photos of what we like and photos of what we don't like and bring that down to, this is what our.
That's actually much of what we did when we did the economic development, when we were in around here. In fact, when we were sitting in the one meeting, I actually drew some stuff on a couple of ways. She took them with her as part of it. We actually sort of did that in order to kind of
I realize we're not in
focus ourselves.
Freeport, Maine, but I like to get, you know, somewhere between Smithfield and Freeport, Maine. If we could somehow hit somewhere in between there, I think that would be a major accomplishment.
That's, I think, what she can do for us, and also knows what, the ordinances are in different towns,
And then she's gotta know what we want.
So, like I said, what Scott's idea,
Right.
what we don't like.
and I think, you know, we can give her more of an idea, but I think she's probably got a pretty good idea also what would fit here versus, let's say, where she lives in Doylestown. That's different, okay? Doylestown is Freeport, Maine. That's where everything should be, you know, cute and pretty and perfect for the tourists in the downtown area.
The downtown is.
The downtown is, and they're very specific about what they want there.
And we're not
When you
that.
get out on 611,
It's not good.
Right.
No.
Well, they actually just redid theirs up in Pocono Township, and John Tressler and Judy, I think, co-wrote that, so we can
In
do it,
Pocono?
hold that, yeah.
I pulled Pocono Township, and I was part of the end game for reducing Union Township, so I pulled those two.
Oh,
There
great.
you go.
I think,
But they're good two resources, you know, they're a good starting point, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel, so.
Well, again, I think Stroud and Middle are neighbors, are contiguous neighbors. I think they, just like anything else, you go up 209, you're on Seven Bridge Road, now you're coming out of Marshall's Creek. There's some good and there's some bad. I mean, really good, but it's crazy up there. What we want to do is I would really work to do is to keep the best of what we have and become practical in what we want to see happen. And I think the only way to do that is, and I think you said, Scott, I think we're not ready to go to Judy. It's just.
Well, no, we have to sort of refine our thinking a bit.
And I just want.
We've been talking about many of these as standalones and so forth, which is okay, and then they're on building side.
Yeah.
You know, on building ones as well. You know, that we'll have to give her some guidance to see, all right, what do you do? If you allow this one, what do you?
I think it's a good idea to take pictures of what we like.
Yeah, I think so.
could I add in something?
Let's start there.
I just want to say, I don't think anyone's under the illusion that this is what's going to Judy, but this is, Robert, if I could speak on your behalf for a second, this is your version of your bubble chart. This is like the idea to start it. It's a memo, it's not, you know, I think if everybody comes up with something, that certainly doesn't have to be like this, but everybody can figure out something, and then perhaps Judy could come to, you know, a meeting after the initial one where we could have whiteboards, figure out, what works, what doesn't, and then give her something from there that she can look at.
But I think we all can start looking, taking pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, we start here, that's right.
Because you're right, Scott, when she came to the meeting that you and Jason
Yeah.
and Brian were at, that kind of solidified everything we wanted to do right there.
Yeah, then we all started to get on the same page right there.
Yeah.
And that really did it, because it was she had a slightly different idea, and then we, and then we did to end up with our final product.
And,
A couple of drafts to our final,
this would be interesting, recently, the Pocono.
Well, Pocono, I guess, John Trusser was involved with that, right? And of course, he's ours.
He's their engineer.
And I don't know what Toby Hanna, did they finalize that?
Yeah, they passed it back to me.
In 2018. And was that really, because of Kalahari coming in and trying to, because I know they wanted beautification areas approaching the resorts and even the entrances and that kind of stuff?
So the redoing of the sign ordinance was actually about a 5-year trudge, for their sign committee.
What's what this is?
Yeah, there was a long, and somewhat heated discussion about whether CBEs should be allowed, in Tobyhanna Township and how they should be allowed. The sign discussion was a larger, or a small part of a large, village commercial, which is very similar to the ED district that you guys just passed, on how do you take an area and turn it into and create the feel that you are looking for. So one of the other things Tobyhanna Township did and has passed since then are design guidelines the planning commission created, where if you want to create a business, the planning commission gives you these design guidelines that say, hey, we really like stonework on this stuff, and here are, great trees that you can use to plant in this sort of way. And it makes your life easier going through the planning commission if you follow these design guidelines, because then you don't have to go back and forth, with the planning commission, because you already know what the planning commission is.
Right, there were incentives for submitting things and sort of doing it quicker, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So this is this is Pocono, I believe.
Whatever it says up on the top left
Tobyhanna.
corner.
Oh, it's Tobyhanna.
Yeah.
This is it?
Yeah, that is.
This is the one John Tressler did.
There were two
Well,
communities,
John
one was
was one of the
Tobyhanna and one was Pocono. So,
But look at the
Oh,
side.
I just got
yeah,
one.
so that says Township of Tobyhanna, which means that.
So Brian, you've got the Pocono, right?
Yeah, the one that weighs about 5 pounds.
Yeah,
There,
there it is.
what can we do about enforcement now?
Pardon me, enforcing?
No.
Okay, here's what we did.
About enforcement now, for not only the abandoned vehicles and garbage and abandoned buildings, and signs that are not in conformance. Why can't we enforce what we have now? That, to me, is an easy, major first step.
And let me say that, David, we've gotten involved with that, and we got involved with when we've got all the complaints about all these, quite frankly, used car garages and repair garages and just overflowing. Franklin Mill right out here, the guy, he lost the hearing, and we tried to work with him and be decent with him. And next thing you know, what he took was an area overparked by 50 cars, and he's got it up to about 150 now.
Which one is this?
M&G, on the right-hand side, just before you hit 209, the guy there before the...
Right before P&S?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have stacks of tires.
And guys doing work out almost on the road with their into the...
But you're gonna have to drop the hammer, guys. You're gonna have to go.
Well, we did this. Now, here's what I'm saying. We did this, and we started, we were gonna say it's not particularly by industry, but because of the rampant disrespect for ordinances and literally just legal stuff, we went around and took the pictures, counted the cars parked, talked to the people there, said, look, we're really gonna try to clean this up, get you guys to be legal, and we're gonna give you so many days to do it. And Ken and I worked this, and then we followed it up. And we came back, and if it was not done, we said, we're gonna come back here one more week, that's 2 notices, and if it's not the way it should be, we're gonna cite you, and we're gonna continue to cite you until this is, been taken care of. P&S Garage, Scotty, we all know Scotty. Oh my God, did I get let's just say, a memo with his thoughts on the project. And it turned out that he was the first to respond and do what he should do down at P&S Garage.
Yeah, Scotty.
And then you go down 209 and we found these places and they're just jumping up and they're still coming. And so
What
what
I'm saying
happens,
about dropping the hammer, Brian, is you're gonna have to go take your enforcement, you're gonna take it into court, get an injunction, and, I don't know, get an injunction to haul the cars away and give them the bill. I mean, you're gonna have to do it. At some point, you're gonna have to drop the hammer.
Well, it's not just the businesses, but it's also the, in the residential area where you have people that are starting businesses. I mean, they're taking the non-conforming use and they're expanding it.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be doing that, and
Doug with us?
No, I think he ran out of
Okay, he's
that.
got a problem over there in Remington and, up in that area that he lives in. And he's got an excellent thing he put together. I'm gonna look and see if we can.
Well, they have a good right here. They're running their construction and landscaping outfits out of home.
And not only that, the desecrating the land and fouling the wetlands.
Yeah.
Been cited I hope they're not your client.
That might be.
No
I
comment.
think that the enforcement all comes down to money. Because you're
Yes.
gonna be paying a solicitor, you're gonna be paying, Ken or another person like that to go around and do this, and then there's time sitting in with the judge to, but I think this is, if we don't have enforcement, and that can start now, then it's a waste of time to write a new ordinance that is workable.
True.
Okay, so let me finish. So what happened with that is we actually did clear quite a bit of this up. And the next thing you know, we get involved with Airbnb. And that kept all of us very, very busy, and especially our zoning officer, all over the place. And most of the time, we found out very simply because of the complaints of neighbors. You know, it's just, at one time, Smithfield Township had a hell of a lot of Airbnbs. Clean that up, we
There's still operating one next to me.
Huh? I'm sorry?
Nick's still operating one next to me. There's 5 different cars in there every weekend.
Really?
Yes. I've said it. He also hooked into his own illegal septic. I said that too.
We talked, well, that's a group. I'll let our zoning officer know that tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we got eaten up in that, and then I noticed what we did and the corrections were made. Now you're gone away, and it's slowly coming back. And M&J Auto up down here, they're the worst of the worst. But it's not a hard enforcement initially. You go out, you warn them, tell them what you need, what you want, what the consequences will be if they do not follow the ordinance. Then you go back, and this is like a half a day. We're not, we only have 50 miles of road. And the truth of it is, it's just, where you're going. You just,
What I'm hearing you say is that you are doing enforcement, and you're...
No, we got sidetracked is what happened.
Okay.
We got the Airbnb, now that's really time consuming.
Enforcing the ordinance, so,
Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah.
well, whatever you can do to
Enforcement, yeah,
advantageous,
I agree.
whether it's car repair shops, or it's residents that have abandoned cars, or...
You want me to do it forever?
Or the building...
No, that's the beauty.
Send a message.
The word gets around.
Yeah, right, exactly. You want me to do
David,
it
I'll give
forever.
you an example. We call it the menacing beach, and when we're inundated on weekends and people are swimming, where it's dangerous to swim and drinking and all of this stuff. And we weren't getting anywhere. We hired a security firm. They're good, and once they lay down the law, there is no open fires, you cannot have alcoholic beverages, and you can't trespass and go into the creek. It's been pretty good. They still get around it. When they were told to leave one day, they parked all along River Road, whoever they are.
Including the bus.
The bus, cars. State police came with a megaphone. So we're going to begin towing cars, and are gonna give you 30 minutes to get out of here and get off this road. 30 minutes, 100 cars disappeared. But I guess it's, yeah, you're setting a precedent.
Yeah, you're just gonna have to do a few of them.
Doug's got that, I'm gonna, well,
Yeah,
I'll go after we're.
Yeah, after you're done, he'll send whatever he has.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take the.
Let me, Robert, would you wanna say anything tonight?
No, thank you for, to be continued.
To be,
Well, we could do it. This is productive.
and I'd like to know, just note for the record that, Robert has, Bob Wessel has volunteered to be on the committee. To be a committee, as I said, members of the planning commission, board of supervisors, and the public in general. Our residents, our business people. And it doesn't have to be, a committee of a dozen or so. It's just
Bob, how do you spell
practical.
your last name?
It's W-E-S-E-L-O-H.
W-E-S-E-L-O-H?
Right. Now, let's just say a few moments, if I could, words.
Yes.
I think, the approach is good. I really like the fact that taking photos of the different things that you like, you don't like. I think you should not, limit yourselves to just our township, but wherever you be traveling, even though you're limited traveling at this point, to see something you really like, take a picture of it. I think the landscaping issue is a real critical thing about maintenance issue that goes along with businesses, and I think Dave's comments were well directed there. So I look forward to interacting with both the supervisors and the commission here as a public member, and get this our township into a really well-groomed, attractive community. I know we're going to have some areas on the three corridors that we have high intensity of commercial activities. Other parts of those strip properties that will not at this moment, 20, 30 years from now, I don't know what it'll look like, but,
He will.
I think the flexibility of understanding those concentrated areas today versus those that are not, would be a good flexible way to consider, this ordinance. With that, thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Maury? He's gone. Can you give me a second, if I could find that thing, it would be worthwhile, what he put together. Really well done. And if I can, I'm just gonna,
You can email it around, it's okay.
it's not gonna be emailable, he didn't do it that way. He just,
Oh, he didn't do it that way.
yeah.
What is it, table?
Pardon me, yeah.
Would you scan it in your copier?
Well, it's, okay.
It's all right.
All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. See you soon.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
There you go.
We off now?
Yeah, do we have it, well, if we don't have any other business, I'll make a motion that we adjourn at 5:32.
Oh, no, I'm not hiding from anything.
I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Hey, Robert, good to see you.
Yes, thank you all.
Yeah, thank
Thank you.
Nice meeting you as well.
Jacob.
Can I mention something to you about that,
Hold on, if you're gonna say something you don't want to be on the air, I'm going to shut off the thing.
That's why I cursed.